Welcome to Vegas Circle with Paki and Chris, and today joining the circle with us, we have Pro MMA Fighter, Miss Alyse. We're going to call her Lil Savage Anderson. So we appreciate having you with us, man. So thanks for joining the circle.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
You back home now. How are you dealing with all this quarantine craziness?
I definitely went downhill real quick because I was in Vegas for that Zane versus Joanna fight in March, and right when I got home, shit hit the fan quick. And
yeah,
I work as a EMT in the hospital, so it was just crazy from the beginning. They canceled all the gyms. I couldn't train, so it was just in my head. I was like, I'm just gonna pick up as much as I can, as many shifts. And then they started laying people off, but luckily I've been there for 5 years, so I got to keep my job. So I'm like, dang, I can't even get the unemployment. I still got to be essential and go work in these COVID rooms. It was very scary the first 2 weeks. You know, no one really knew anything, so we didn't have the right PPE to go in these rooms, and I was getting asked for interviews to talk about it, but confidentiality at first with our hospital was like, you can't talk about it. So I mean, it was a lot of just being scared. The first night they made me work on a unit with positive COVID patients. I just called my mom crying because I was like, they're not even giving me a N95 mask. They're like, so, but luckily, you know, I feel like over the last 2 weeks have been slowly on the upward. At first I stopped training because I was just going to focus on, actually at first I was really positive and motivated and was like, I'm going to run every day and I'm going to be in the best shape. And then it kind of went into the Netflix and eat whatever I want mode. And then like the last week I was like, okay, this is getting out of hand. I got to, you know, get back to work. Like, especially when I heard about Fight Island and, you know, talk to Dana White, I was like, man, what if a last minute call comes in? I at least want to have some in shape as I can be. So I've started slowly but surely getting like as much training as possible as I can here.
So are you still in it every day training?
I mean, like I try to do at least something every day, whether it's a jog or I have a heavy bag at my house, get that in. I also have been riding my dirt bikes a lot.
Yeah, because you do motocross too, man. You wear a lot of hats, man. You do motocross and everything too, right?
Oh, yeah. I love riding. That's why I'm up here. My neighbor is actually a professional racer in motocross.
Oh, wow.
And we grew up together. He got me into it when we were about 9 years old.
Oh,
so
wow.
He was the neighbor next door that was a hot shot, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to ride dirt bikes.
There you go.
So I begged my dad, got me a dirt bike. You know, I went to the local track, started racing, and wanted to be with the boys. So which is the same neighbor that I'm up here with today, somewhere around here, messing around. But they're just like I don't know if you've seen the show Jackass ever.
Yeah.
That is them. That is that crew.
Is that right?
Jumping over fire, and I'm always like, I'm not going to do that, but it's so cool to watch you guys do it.
That's cool. So where in the world did this all start for you, man? How in the world did you get in MMA? Were you like bullied, or were you bullying people, or how in the world did you do this? Because you definitely a little savage. I've seen your fights.
Oh, thanks. That's awesome.
Yeah, you're a beast.
Jens Pulver gave me that nickname, actually, Lil Evil, Jens Pulver.
Oh, Jens Pulver did? I know Jens Pulver. He's amazing.
He's the one that we started training together. We have the same manager, and he gave me the name Lil Savage.
Okay.
So it stuck, and I was like, I didn't want a fight name. I was like, no, I'll never have one. And he was like, no, you're a Lil Savage. And I was like, all right, I'll take it.
You need it for branding. It helps.
That's a great branding name. That's definitely a great branding name for sure, especially getting it from Jens. I mean, that's a Hall of Famer. So he's how in the world did you guys? You guys connected because of Brian, right? From Sucker Punch. Okay.
Yeah, we both got Mr. Brian as a manager.
Yeah, you guys got everybody, Zhang and the whole nine. I mean, you kind of crossed over too. I mean, I don't want to get too far into it, but how in the world? I know you were at that fight, the Zhang fight. That fight was incredible.
Oh my gosh!
What was your take on that? That fight was definitely one of the best MMA fights I've seen live.
I started talking to Wei Li over Instagram, and stuff because we had the same management way before the fight. I was actually like right after our first UFC win, we started just chatting. Okay. And then we both got sponsored by the Perfect Sports Supplement Company. Brian was like, we're going to do a shoot in Vegas like the Sunday before her fight week. If you want to stay for the fight week and train with her and do her fight camp with her, they could use a smaller body. And I was like, yep, hello.
So are you sparring with Zane? So you actually sparring with her, or?
Well, they were going to have me work with her, but with her weight cut and the media and stuff, they weren't going to do grappling. So they were going to use me for grappling. But instead, I got one-on-one sessions with her. She just worked with me one-on-one. Like, I worked with her coaches, and then when she was done cutting weight, she came over, and we had UFC translators, so she would just translate everything, and I got video of it, and I just rewatched it because she's a beast, man. Watching her spar was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, she's a machine, man. She's definitely a machine. She's unbelievable, man. That's great. Well, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall to watch y'all get at it when I was. That's good stuff. You're fighting out of Xtreme Couture, right? At Randy Couture's gym in Vegas, right? Is that where you're training out of? Or?
So it's kind of like a crazy story where I've been at because I, as an amateur, kind of went everywhere. And then my dad, I was like 7 or 8 years old. So I had my black belt in like Shorin-ryu karate, but then I took the soccer route a little bit, and I got a full ride playing soccer. So I was playing travel a lot, still kind of doing karate. But when I was 14, my dad wanted to help me get in shape for soccer, so he had some buddies from back in the day, the karate school, to get me in some shape, and so he brought me to a fitness boxing class, but that he knew from the olden days, and they had a jiu-jitsu class going, and I was like, watch that, and I really liked it, and I really liked the boxing, so started taking some classes, and sure enough, I was like, Dad, when I turn 18, I'm gonna fight in the cage. And he was like, if you can survive a camp with the coach that I choose, then you can fight in the cage. And he thought I would quit within the first week. I got my ass whooped. I went to school so bad with broken, split lips and ears that I have bad cauliflower ear now. They asked if I was being abused at school. And I was like, no, I got to fight. I'm an MMA fighter. And I went the whole 6 weeks, and I won my first MMA fight at 18 in 36 seconds.
Oh, wow.
So I promised them only one fight and I would quit. My mom and dad, after the 36-second win, I was on the microphone. I'll be back in this cage. And then I fought again 2 months later, and then I promised them I'll quit when I lose. And then when I took my first loss and my only loss, I was a pro. And it was a split decision. I still don't think I lost it, but they pressured me to keep pursuing. So that's when I moved to Crystal Lake to train with Felice Herrig. So I did a camp out there. But then right before my next camp, she tore her ACL, which sent me back to Xtreme Couture because I didn't have a training partner anymore. So that's how I got back and forth.
Got it. So you're in Vegas.
That's a tough business. Yeah, how do you keep that going? That seems tough to get into a ring, take some losses, get some wins, but that's a beating that you have to put yourself through. How do you deal with that and come back from it?
Like after I lost?
Oh no, even just in general. It's hard to get in a ring with somebody and just fight it out, take that beating, deal with the repercussions from it the next few days or so, and then still have the motivation to get back in and keep training and just fight again. I've gotten beat maybe twice in my life, and those I'll never want to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, if you
especially in front of a bunch of people. Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst way to take care of everyone. Everyone buys tickets, and you're like, oh, that shouldn't have gone to decision. That was very ugly. I'm so sorry. I trained so hard for this. But if you ask Brian, I have told him, during every single fight camp, I'm done after this fight. I hate this. I hate the weight cut because I cut a lot of weight to make 105. I walk around 120. So
do you really? Shoot. Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm 118 right now because I'm not lifting. on my schedule. But
I told Chris, I said, I wish we could have did this in person because I wanted him to scrap with you a little bit. I said, she's cut, man. Yeah, she's cut. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
you actually fight at the atom weight, right? That's the weight that you fight at, right? 105 is the atom weight?
Yeah, that's why I keep bugging Dana.
Got you. Okay.
About opening it up. He
when
will.
Are they going to break that open?
He promised me like a little over a year ago, that it was going to be last summer. He was like, I promised this summer, and then it didn't happen. So when I saw him in Vegas at the Wayne fight, I was like, bro, what about our division? And then all this Corona happened, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to bug him for a little bit.
I'm going to start bugging him. Dana White, you better be listening, man. We need to get her in the UFC, man. We need her in Vegas. We need her around the world.
I bug him here and there. Like,
good stuff.
He told me, like, I'm still young for my, like, athletic prime. And I told him, whatever, I want to be in the UFC now. I've been helping all these girls with their camps. I want it to be my time.
Yeah.
But I'm just being patient, and I've helped Felice out with 2 of her camps. I've been her main training partner and got to fly out, and it's just like it's so different when you get to see like the UFC compared to. And I love Invicta and I love the promotions I fight for, but you definitely see the difference, and it's just like, man, I want that more than anything in the world to be at that level. And I refuse to go up to 115, but my manager says maybe someday.
Really? Okay. Because if you actually look at the 105, like you just said, you walk around 119, 120, there's probably a lot of people that are cutting weight like that to get down to 105 and 110 in that range, right?
I feel like there's not that many girls that fight at 105 that walk around at 105. I mean, you got to be really small to be walking around at 105, 110.
Gotcha.
But the girls that are fighting at 115 are walking around like 130s, 140s. And it's like, until they do something like same day weigh-ins, it's always going to be like that. So why would I? And, I always hear you'll be so much faster and you'll have the endurance. It's like, I don't care about that. I like having the strength to be like, if I'm getting my ass whooped, I will hold you against the cage for 15 minutes and take my decision win and get it over with.
What do you actually eat? Because you're cutting a lot of weight. What are you doing? You fasting? What are you doing? I know it's grueling on your body when you're in camp.
Oh, it is. I used to fast bad, like not even eat the week of my fight week until I hooked up with Brian. And he right away got me with Tyler Mitten. I don't know if you know him. He's a nutritionist out of Lockhart.
Okay.
But he, was like, what are you doing? You cannot starve your body like this. And my last fight was the first camp that I did not have to get in a tub or a sauna to make weight. All I did was naturally hit mitts outside. And I weighed in on Monday at 121, which is our, like, when you get off the plane at a fight, they want to check your arriving weight because they don't want you cutting that much.
Sure.
I always lie. So, because I don't want them to really know how much I'm cutting. But I weighed in at 121, and on Friday I made 105.6 without getting in a tub or a sauna, just by like putting sweats on and hitting mitts outside, because my diet was so like consistent and with the sodium and the cut that the water just came right off. And I've never felt better than doing it the right way.
Especially in Vegas.
I need to cut about 20 pounds. What's your tip?
I put it right back on in 24 hours.
I would think Vegas is a perfect place for that, man, because it's so hot and dry here. You can probably cut weight much easier than like a Michigan or another place.
But I fought in Kansas City, but it was still like ADL.
That's right. Yeah. You fought Katie, right? Didn't you? That was your last fight, right? Didn't you fight Katie Saul?
Yeah, in last minute change up. Yeah.
So you were ready then. That's a perfect example of being ready, because you had to get ready like 10 days or something, right, on that fight?
Oh, yeah. She was actually the fill-in. So
I'm sorry. I misread that. Okay,
I was supposed to fight, I don't even remember her name now.
Got it.
Someone, but she backed out like 10 days before the fight. So I was like, I have to take like a leave of absence every single time I fight for work, because I'm very tunnel vision. So I cannot do a camp and work and do my home life.
I was so going to ask you that. That was literally one of the questions. I had to figure out how you were able to cut that off.
Yeah. I put my work, it was a pre-hirement agreement that I can get 6 to 8 weeks off because fighting is considered my second income. So I just get it's like a no paid leave, and I put my weeks in, and the sponsors, Perfect Sports and Girl and It's a 10 has really helped me be able to take it off so that I can live in Vegas and only train. And that's my only worry is training and eating right. And I always fly home once to see my family because I'm still a baby and miss my mom. But that's I feel like that's how I get the best success though, is that's the only thing on my mind for 8 weeks is the fight.
That's good stuff. I gotta ask you, what do you like best? Do you like fight by KO, or are you a submission person? Or I mean, I've seen your crazy flying triangle stuff. So
I love jiu-jitsu. I could do jiu-jitsu all day long, every day. I compete in all the tournaments. Striking, on the other hand, everyone thinks I'd be a great striker because of my karate background, and I'm giving away my secrets on this podcast. But I hate it. I hate getting hit in the face. And I'm so long, so everyone's like, "You're so tall." I'm 5'5" for 105, which is taller than most 115 pounders. Yep. And they're like, "You have such long range." And I'm like, I don't use it. I get hit in the face by a 4'6" girl, and I just grab them because I know I just have such confidence in my submission game. But that's why I've been working so hard before this coronavirus crap on my striking and my boxing and being comfortable using my range, because I know I have a lot of power, but I just love submissions so much where I'm like, I get hit once and I'm like, and I can submit you really quickly.
It's funny that you say you hate getting hit. That's what you're in the mixed martial arts. I can't even imagine that. And these ladies are trained killers. So
the second I get hit, I feel like I'm losing the fight. So I'm like, oh hell no.
Makes a lot of sense. Originally Dana White, they didn't want ladies pretty much in the sport. And Ronda Rousey pretty much, it seems like, paved the way, right, for women fighters?
Yeah, Ronda's my girl. I trained with her for a while. So
really?
Yeah. I went to my dad, being the karate guy, is like, I need to send you to the best schools there are if you want to be successful in the sport. So when Ronda had her debut against Liz Carmouche, it was like the first female fight in the UFC. He was like, you're going to train with her. He called up Edmond, and my next camp, I was on a plane, met Ronda, and she was so, I've only known her from the TV side, and it's pretty abrasive. So when she kind of took me under her wing and took me to Vegas and made sure I had a ride home so I wasn't walking back and forth from the gym, because I was walking. I rented a room on Craigslist. My parents did. It was in a very sketchy place. Her and Travis Brown would, make sure I had a ride, and she would work with me one-on-one. And then both those fights that I worked with her, I finished in the first round, my pro debut and my fourth amateur fight, first round finishes. So, I think Dana does the best he can. You're always going to get those people that are coming, he's just a promoter. He's in it for the money. He says this. He does the best he can with what he has. A stressful job, I feel like, but for the most part, I feel like he does the best he can for as many fighters as he has.
Yeah.
Like every time I've talked to him, he's been super down to earth, super, opening to what I've had to say. I got to see his cool office at the Apex when I was there at Whaley's fight, and he showed us his kitchen and his office and all of that. So personally, I think he's a good guy. I know everyone has an opinion on him, but I mean, I feel like that's just like with any boss, right? You're gonna have the haters.
It makes sense. I mean, with that side of it. And what do you feel about, like, for example, the McGregor Mayweather, that kind of transition between boxing and UFC? And I know Khabib is a big whisper right now with possibly fighting Mayweather coming up this year. What was your take on that? I mean, because I mean, the money, of course, is ridiculous. But seeing the mixed martial,
it is a crazy amount of money.
I
seeing
mean,
the money is like,
oh
why would you not do that?
I would jump in there for $100 million, give up a high rope.
Me too. With my hands down, you get one shot. I'll take the knockout.
Yeah. Well, maybe not have to see it like a Mike Tyson, because I saw Mike Tyson at 53 still looking beast mode.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take it from Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I don't think I'll take it from Mike.
That video that just came out?
That just surfaced this past week. He's 53.
Oh, I saw that
still
too.
Unbelievable.
That's something else.
But what's your take on that? Because you have MMA, mixed martial arts, boxing is so technical. Would you want to see like a Khabib and a Mayweather fight?
Personally, no, because I'm a jiu-jitsu person. I love like the ground. I love the takedowns. When I watched the Mayweather and Conor fight after like round 3, I was like, all right, let's speed this up. I want to see a knockout. I mean, I would love like the opposite, like to see Mayweather go in the cage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what everyone really wants to see.
I've heard has he really been training the last couple of years? Because that's what the word is.
I have no idea. That would be hilarious to see, though.
Yeah. I know
it takes a lot of work to get to that level of wrestling. Like, I don't think, same with boxing. That's why no one thought Conor. I don't think Khabib would beat Mayweather either. That's his craft. That's what he works on. He doesn't do jiu-jitsu or wrestling. So I do not think that none of them are going to beat him at his own craft. But it would be so funny to see him get thrown into like Khabib's world. That would be hilarious to me.
Yeah,
but I don't see him doing that.
Yeah, that's too much money on all. But you never know. I mean, there's a lot of money.
I'd pay for that pay-per-view for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of money on the line.
I'd pay $100 for that.
Yeah. Just kind of transition a little bit. So you're a nurse by trade. So you've been a nurse for a long time, and then motocross, the whole nine. You got so many hats, man. It's unbelievable. Is the goal to eventually just be fully mixed martial arts and throw the nursing away?
My dad has been like my number one confidant, even though I have a manager and stuff. He's, we talk daily about, the money I'm making in the hospital versus you see like even Whaley, like what she's making, even starting out in the UFC is 3 times as much as I'm making fighting outside of the UFC. So it's really hard for me, and my manager gets frustrated when I don't want to take fights because it's not, and I'm just like, you understand that when I take 8 weeks off of my job, I'm still losing money on these fights. And it's really hard for me to a place to, I drive there with my car. I have to find a place to rent. I have to pay 15% to my coaches, 20% to my management, 20% to my management for sponsors. And it goes on and on and on. And so, yeah, it just is like, it's really hard to stay motivated to keep taking this time off of, when you have bills and stuff to pay. Yeah. It's like I'm losing money on these fights, and I get more frustrated, especially when you kind of get like these promises from Dana saying, oh, we're going to open it this summer. Well, that summer's passed. It's now this summer, and now this has happened. Yeah. And my manager's like, well, if you want it, then you got to go up to 115. It's like, well, I don't want to go up to 115. So, well, he's offered 1, but I feel like if I sign with 1, that's crushing my dreams of being I want to be a Jens Pulver of the 105-pound division. He was the Jens Pulver of the lightweight division for the UFC. Right.
He actually, I think he started the 155, right? If I remember correctly.
Yep, started the lightweight. He was the first lightweight champion.
Yep. Hey, that's an awesome goal. It's just so fast, man. The 105 is such a fast-paced setup, so that would be great to be able to see, man. I really hope it happens for sure.
Yeah, why aren't they doing it? That's the thing I'm curious about. What's the holdup? It seems like adding an additional weight class could only benefit the UFC.
He even told me, we were in Florida one time talking about it, and he was like, there's a bunch of girls that will drop down from 115 that aren't doing very well in the UFC because they don't want to get cut. They'll drop down to your division. And his words were, there'll be a bunch of girls for you to beat up at 105. But their reasoning is there's not that many girls in the 105-pound division. But I really don't think they understand how many girls would drop. Like even Michelle Waterson, she never had a 115-pound fight in the UFC or ever until the UFC. She was the Invicta FC atomweight champion and then lost her belt. And then her first fight after she lost the belt was at 115 in the UFC. She didn't have to go through the house.
Got it.
So it's like, that's what I want. I want that. I want that.
Keep speaking it. Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get it. It's time.
The next fights that are coming up, how do you feel about not having fans and just in fighting? Because don't you vibe off of that, that energy in there? And the rowdiness and just, because mixed martial art fights are just crazy. So how would you feel fighting and having nobody there?
So they've offered me to fight in June at a show, and it'd be no fans. And I talked to my dad, and I told my manager, if my dad can't go, I'm not fighting. So, if they want to give me 3 corners instead of 2 and let my dad be my 3rd corner, but I at least need that level of support. I at least need my dad there and my manager and my coaches. So with this limited to you in 1 corner, I'm just not, that's definitely not worth the money for me to take off work and put everything on the line.
Sure.
I never take short notice fights ever because I need the time off of work. So if it was the UFC, I'd quit my job tomorrow. But for these other promotions, I'm just a lot more picky about what fights and opportunities, because that's tough to go to a fight without your support system there, sure. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm seeing there's a huge card coming up. I want to say, what is it, the middle of this month or the end of this month? I can't remember what was 249. I can't remember UFC 249. It's a huge card that's coming up, and I want to say that that's the next one that's coming up that's going to have no fans, correct?
Yeah, in Jacksonville, Florida, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, in Florida, correct. Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
that's going to be really interesting to see how that works out. So
play the music real loud.
I don't know, man.
At least they'll be able to hear their corners. That's the only plus.
Got it.
You can hear your corners, but I like the crowd. I like when I walk out to God's Plan by Drake, and I like when I hear the crowd sing it. It gets me pumped up. That's why I always pick that song.
There you go. Big Drake. Drake just came out with a new album too. So are you feeling this new album?
Oh, yep. I'm a huge Drake fan.
You get your Tootsie Slide. Are you doing any TikTok videos?
I've already posted my Tootsie Slide TikTok video.
Okay, I gotta look it up. I ain't seen it yet.
Is my TikTok.
Okay.
Some self-promoting here.
There you go. You got to, man. You got to brand yourself. That's what I'm going to check that out for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of transition a little bit about Vegas. We always ask everybody, what's your favorite restaurant in Vegas when you're in town?
Oh, I don't know what it's called.
You probably can't eat.
It's at the movie theater, the New Orleans. It's a little seafood place. And they have...
It's right at the corner. They have...
it's at the corner.
Probably one of those oyster bars
at the Orleans. Yeah,
the oyster bars. Okay.
Oh, that's what it is, the oyster bar.
Oyster bar, okay, yeah. Because I was going to say, a lot of the casinos, man, they got those little hidden gems, the oyster bars and stuff. So
my manager gets so mad because I make all of us go there, and it's not right on the strip. We got to take an Uber off the strip to the Orleans to go to this place. But my favorite food in the world is clam chowder, and they have the best clam chowder and that bread bowl. So...
I'll have to try it.
Oh, yeah, I always take everyone out there, and I'm the only one that enjoys it. But when it's my night to pick, that's what I pick for everybody. And I like the arcade upstairs, so.
There you go. Big gamer?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
They have an arcade upstairs?
Yeah, the Orleans.
The Orleans? I didn't know that.
We stayed at the New York. I spent $300 on the card of the arcade games and I rode the roller coaster 6 times. I got every grown adult there. Whaley's coach, I got to go on it with me. Brian, I got to go on it. I just rode it over and over.
Good stuff. You talking Chris's language. Chris a big gamer, so he knows all that stuff. So
competition.
Did you get Animal Crossing?
No, I did not. Is that the Switch?
That's the Switch. You got a Switch?
No, I have Xbox. So I play. I'm Xbox and PC gamer.
You gotta get a Switch. You gotta come.
Animal Crossing sounds fun. Yeah, I've been thinking about it. We definitely need something to get through this quarantine. Need something to occupy my time.
Yeah, you gotta try it. It's worth the investment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing, noted.
So the next step for you is just kind of waiting out, just kind of staying as fit as possible, keeping your mind right. Are you doing like meditation, and are you doing yoga, or what are you doing to kind of keep yourself sane?
Riding dirt bikes.
There you
Coming up here with all these goons.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing? What's up, guys?
That's my neighbor. It's a pro. He's a pro racer and takes me on the trails out here. And I just bought a brand new 125 last year. So I have two bikes, a 250 and a 125 two-stroke. And I tell my coaches, which they all think is bull crap, but I swear it helps with my grip strength and training because it's such a burn on my forearms.
Yeah.
And they're always like, okay, whatever.
I would think it would be dangerous to do that, man, especially with, I remember, especially with all the Michael Jordan stuff right now. I remember he couldn't ride a motorcycle forever. Jason Williams and all these guys, man. I would think it would be something that you don't want to do, but hey, you got to do whatever you can to keep your mind off stuff. So
my dad takes it away when fight camp starts. Like when I fly home in the middle of fight camp, he literally locks my dirt bikes to a pole with a key so I can't take it anywhere. And I mean, it's for my own good, but that's the only thing I want to do when I come home is just putz around on my bike with the boys. And they're all way faster than me, but they always turn around and make sure I don't fall too far behind them.
Good stuff.
How's that weather over there in northern Michigan right now? Good dirt bike weather?
Yeah, it's like I think we might even go wakeboarding tomorrow.
Oh, so. Wow. Earlier than normal.
I might freeze, but you gotta do something to stay sane here.
I know. I remember those days.
When are you coming back to Vegas? When will you be back in Vegas? Once this quarantine stuff gets situated to get back into training here, or?
Yeah, I'll be back probably at Xtreme Couture when my camp starts. Actually, It's my buddy, my dirt bike buddy, that I like to have my car there, so we drive across the country together, and then he flies back so I can have my car. We kind of make a trip out of it, and hopefully, that's why Brian was like, "You want to fight in June?" I'm like, "Where do you want me to train? What do you want?" And he's like, "Well, everyone's in that situation," and I'm like, "I'm not risking it. When I can have a good camp, I'll fight again." And me and my dad have both agreed on that because I'm just not gonna risk taking a loss in my career right now.
Yeah.
By not properly preparing how I'd like to.
Yeah, for sure. No, it makes sense, man. You want to be focused and you want to be right, and your gut tells you everything. So that's good things to be able to follow your gut. So you got a great, bright future. So I'm hoping and rooting that you're going to be able to come on to the UFC because they need to see you, man. It's good stuff.
Thanks. Hope so too. Soon. Yeah. I hope soon.
So we definitely got to have you on when you're back here so we can actually do it at our office, man. Once we get live.
Yeah, I'll have to, when I'm back in Vegas, hopefully sooner than later, I'll hit you guys up.
For sure. Yep. You got me direct, so for sure.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Anything that you want to share that we forgot to ask you? I know you got a lot of branding going on with Girl and supplements and everything. Anything you want to shout out or anything we should expect?
I just want to thank mostly my management team, like Brian Butler with Sucker Punch. He kind of picked me up young or at the end of my amateur career. I was only 19 years old and really has helped me put my brand together because right now I feel like being able to brand yourself is just as important as being able to be a good fighter because you can be the best fighter in the world, but if you're boring as shit, nobody wants to watch you. Nobody cares. It's just like, oh, they're great. So being able to kind of, take stuff that I do outside of fighting, like working in the hospital and being able to show other people, because I wouldn't even post a picture of myself, on my story because I'd be too nervous. But, you know, he brought me out to Felice Herrig, and, you know, she's made me more comfortable with talking on camera and getting to go to all her fight weeks, and being there for Whaley's fight camp is because of him, and seeing how these professionals that are older than me, these veterans, have navigated their way to success has made it like clear how what not to do, what to do, what they could do better, and just being a fly on the wall for all of these UFC fight weeks. And, you know, being able to tap on Dana's shoulder like, I'm still here, I'm waiting any day now.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, I want to thank Girl and Perfect Sports for, you know, just having my back from the beginning. Like, you know, they believe in me, and that just motivates me to keep chasing my dream, because I know it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen, man. You're being watched by a lot of people in this, and all I see is positive feedback on you, on everything that I've seen. You know, a lot of people give you a lot of props. They say you focused. Bright future, man. I'm rooting for you. And you're welcome anytime on Vegas Circle, so we appreciate it.
Thanks. That means a lot. You guys are awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
All right. Have a good night.